Hey, it's Margie with the Asking Spot, and this week I am asking, can I make a mini bar?
Yes, yes. Yes!
It's because my husband's kind of become obsessed with getting little mini bottles of alcohol. And I went to the thrift store and I came across this. It is a Bombay company. It is a tabletop wine bar.
Disappointed!
And mine, it is missing on the inside here. It's missing the little wine stoppers, but it's not in all that bad condition. It's actually looking pretty nice. And when I saw it online, the ones missing the wine stoppers were like $49, and the ones with wine stoppers were anywhere from $69 to $89. So when you consider all that, I got this, $10. However, I never found its original condition all that attractive. Now, before I get any of the hate, oh, you can't change up, I generally try to stick with that theory that, you should always keep an antique in its best shape and restore it. A, this is not an antique. B, it is not made of some fabulous, it's stained mahogany, but it's not mahogany. I'm not even sure it's totally solid wood. Well, we'll find out, because I'm going to mess around with it now. All right, game on. This is MDF. Anything I do to this now is just for me to have fun, and it's not really a damage to it because...
A knockoff, a cheap imitation.
It's MDF. As always, going to clean up the piece first. I'm using my own degreaser mix. It's just 50-50 vinegar and water, and squirt it on, wipe it off. The main thing you need to remember when you're using a degreaser, whatever type you use, is the idea is you're not only getting the dirt and grime that could be on a piece, but you're also getting the intentional polish that people use on these pieces. Oh, now here we go, trying to imitate Barry with Mad City Modern. He uses scrapers, and granted, this isn't exactly the type of scraper he uses, but I started using it and I was like, okay, maybe I will invest in one of those scrapers he uses. But then I went there. Hold on, go back. That's why you always have to use the right tool for the job and practice with whatever tool you decide to use on something that's not the piece you want to keep. I'm using about a 120 grit sanding here. And at first I was thinking, I'm going to sand down to the veneer, maybe, do something different. And then I went, wait, that's not the technique I wanted. That's not the look I wanted. So I went back to hand sanding because I really just want a scuff sand so that paint will adhere to the piece. I'm a little confused.
Oh, it's not the first time.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Not usually my first time for that. But I took off the trim on the drawer, and, I kind of was, you could feel it. It's like, oh, this is plastic. And I even gave it an extra little sand just to make sure. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but yeah, you can totally tell it's plastic because it's got like that little creamy white color that plastic has. And, so that's not necessary, and it's unattractive, and I'm cool with that. I thought, all right, the legs are going to be something similar, either a mold plastic piece, or maybe they're wood. So I thought I'd sand them a bit, thinking, okay, if they're wood, that'd be great. But the weird thing was, the more I sanded, the more I have.
Appearances can be deceptive,
See, it looked like this, and now it's looking like this.
A lot of people are going to be very disappointed.
Shiny brass. I'm kind of excited. It does change what I had planned for this, but not much. I'm keeping this part in because, well, if those pieces were brass, this is a really easy, kind of eco-friendly way to clean them. I'm putting about a cup's worth of vinegar in these, and then I'm adding some sea salt. It could be any salt, by the way. I just happen to have this, a tablespoon per cup. And then I'm going to microwave them and get them about, coffee hot, maybe not quite as hot. And then I'll put the pieces in, let them sit for 10 minutes, and then take them out and use some Barkeeper's Friend on them. By the way, I bought liquid kind of Barkeeper's Friend. Really wish I would have done the powder. Not to mention, I've also heard that baking soda works just as well. So after cleaning up and working on those little legs for a while, turns out they are smart brass. I don't know what's all on them, but I could see through it that lots of it was just, you know, like plastic, like this was the trim. So, because I was going to do something more with gold to keep up with them, you know, sort of a brass gold, I went out and bought some brass gold spray paint. Now, this is my first shot using this, and it says it's for indoor-outdoor use, but I'm never going to use anything that can be blown around in the air and inhaled in any room that's all closed up. I would use it in a highly ventilated room. And the results, they look great, and I did like the color choice. It kind of gave that more aged gold that I was going for, sort of, you know, like a brass, sort of somewhere in there. So I was really pleased with that. The odor, it's better than usual spray cans, but it's not like a completely, you know, low VOC paint, you know, paintbrush paint you'd use. And then otherwise, it was only $1 more, which isn't too bad, especially when I look at my drip test. I mean, the coats covered very well, and I just used light little coats, which is a good thing because I have more plans for the paint elsewhere on this piece, so I'm happy I still have more. All right, baby, you gotta go. Off you go, sweetie. Go, go, go. Good girl. Come on. All right, I've got the piece all taped up, and I did do a pretty good job with the drawer, but that was kind of an easier thing to do because everything was raised up. What I'm planning to do to the shelf is do some of the parts in. So, not sure I taped it all that well, but I'm gonna try a little trick I saw that hopefully works, is you spray the base coat, whatever, you know, the other parts of the piece was, on top of the paint that's been taped down. And then you spray your decorative spray, and that should lead to no bleed throughs. Naturally, I've waited 2 minutes. Gonna give it a shot. All right, the technique of putting down the base coat on top of the tape and then putting on the accent color worked. Problem is, I tape like language. Yeah, it's not good. So how do you fix it when you've worked with cans of spray paint? Well, it would be maddening to retape the whole thing and try to get it exactly right. So this tip is a little bit easier. Using these containers from my husband's diabetes test strip. The reason you want something really small is, you know, the more space you have, the more of the paint will just go in and dry. We want it to be liquid. I'm going to spray directly into it, and you'll notice I'm also wearing gloves because there is a good bit of overspray when you do this. So now it's top coat time. I used that gold paint that is definitely an oil-based paint. I know this because when it came time for cleanup, I had to use mineral spirits. That's your usual giveaway for that. So I need to use an oil-based top coat. You can put oil on a water base, but you can't put a water base on top of an oil base. Well, after the polyurethane dried, I put on another coat of it, let it dry. Yes, I'm learning. And then I added a wax coat. Now, a wax coat isn't necessary, but I do like how it gives a piece a little bit more depth. The only thing to remember though when you're adding a wax coat is it can go on top of anything, but nothing can go on top of it. Wax coat has to be last. So let's take a look at where we started. And if you could, please subscribe, click the subscribe button, maybe hit the bell, you'll get an alert for the next one. And if you could, also a thumbs up, comments, all those things really help out the algorithms of the channel. So I appreciate them greatly. And now here's the finished piece. And I went ahead and staged it how I would like it if I'd made it for myself, where I'd put the little alcohol bottles in the drawer. But of course, I made this for my husband so he could display his collection of those mini alcohol bottles. So this is how we keep it in our house now. Thanks so much for watching the Asking Spot. Got bloopers next. And this go around, we are asking, can I make a wine bar? Well, actually, I'm going for, never mind. Well, yeah, it looks like I will be able to, because here's what I came across. This is just wrong. I'm gonna spray paint some black and see how that does. And then, wait, I'll get this right in a different video. Blooper time. All right, now after wax coat. Now, wax isn't necessary per se, but I like the depth. Hi, husband. So they're great. However, they can go on top of